Good evening, tiny square internet people. Um, I'm coming to you live from my personal office. I'm gonna go ahead and rip the band-aid off real quick. No, I am not Steve from Blue's Clues. I know some of you are already disappointed, but it'll get worse. Could we all agree that there are a few acronyms that we should just retire? For example, at work, we have stopped using the acronym VIP or Very Important Person because it's considered exclusionary. So instead, we have started calling them High Interest Visitors. That's right, folks. We abandoned VIP and caught HIV. But wait, it gets better. My position at work is that I'm the aide to a colonel. So for real, they sent out an email that said, aides, we need you to get the HIV. Folks, this is why you always need a second set of eyes on every first draft. Hey, speaking of work, raise your hand if you have a job. Oh, okay. For the rest of you, I recommend getting one because being a stand-up comedian does not pay very well at all. Now, raise your hand if you have somebody that you work with that is so awful that it forces you to be a more socially active person. Allow me to explain. I work with somebody who is such a loathsome human being that he will definitely get murdered. And most people already assume that I am a serial killer, so I always have to have an alibi. It's gotten to the point when every time I'm with my friends, I'm like, everybody get in nice and tight. Let's take selfies. Lots of selfies in geographically specific locations. The time stamp. I would like to thank the ASAP program for recording this show so that I have an alibi for tonight. Thank you for that. Hey, speaking of people that drive us crazy, raise your hand if you have parents. Okay. I assume the rest of you are orphans. That is very sad. My parents have very interesting priorities. I told them that I wanted to get a dog, and my mom was like, "Oh, honey, no, you can't get a dog. Those are you work such long hours. Dogs require so much attention. You know what you should do instead? You should have some kids." I'm just like, thanks, Mom. That explains a lot of my childhood. My parents are very different people. My mother is a retired speech therapist from Wisconsin, hence the ridiculous accent from before. My father is a passive-aggressive beanbag from Ohio. I'm sorry. The Ohio part is redundant. My mother has always been very athletic. She ran the Boston Marathon when she was 60. My father, on the other hand, looks like an albino version of Grimace. You know, the purple triangle monster from McDonald's. You know, at some point in your adulthood, you start to see your parents as humans. And I look at the two of them together and I'm just like, how exactly did this happen? And my mom is always quick to defend my dad. She's always like, well, you'd never guess it to look at him, but your father is a surprisingly good dancer. Folks, I have seen my father dance. He is not. So that is how I learned that my dad is great at sex. On that note, my name's Pete. That's been my set. Give it up for your host, Melissa, everybody.